The entire agenda was from the British side to just divide India.
Yes, absolutely.
So that India doesn't become a superpower.
Partition was our fault. You know, this is what I had always been told at school. Also then during the war, you know, Nehruji, Gandhiji, they refused to support the British. America pushed Britain too to announce a leaving date. And Nehruji and Gandhiji and Patel Saab and everyone, had they been aware of what the real British agenda was, history is written by the victors.
History is written by the victors, yes.
सत श्री अकाल जी, मैं गुरिंदर चड्ढा हूँ and तुसी देख रहे हो Bollywood Hungama.
It's a huge honor and privilege to have Gurinder Chadha with us. Her movie is coming up, Partition 1947, which is called Viceroy's House in UK. It has already released. Reviews are glowing. It talks about a very, very contentious issue related with Indian history. We'll talk about much more about that. Ma'am, pleasure having you on BollywoodHungama first.
Nice to be here, thank you.
Okay, now I was reading a few of the reviews and it is being said that you know, there are all sorts of views which are there because Britishers, when they are judging your movie, they are judging it in a different context altogether. I read somewhere that someone has said that beware of its dark agenda, obviously because you're not presenting the British point of view in a very flattering light, because somewhere you're saying that it was the entire agenda was from the British side to just divide India.
Yes, absolutely.
So that India doesn't become a superpower.
Kind of, yes. I mean, for me, the history that I had always been brought up with was that partition happened because the Britishers had decided it was time to leave, and then we all started fighting with each other. So Mountbatten had no choice but to divide the country, and so partition was our fault. You know, this is what I had always been told at school, and this is what I had been grown up with, and I think a lot of the people in the world and in India believe somehow, you know, this is what happened. But in doing my research, I found out that this was all untrue, actually, and that there was a whole other agenda of why partition happened. It was a political act. It wasn't a reaction to what was going on, and in many ways Mountbatten was kind of the fall guy because there were people working behind the scenes to ensure that partition happened.
The promo also conveys that there is someone that you come to know that who was that man behind that entire plan.
इसमें हिंदुस्तान का भविष्य लिखा है।
किसने कहा? माउंटबैटन ने?
नहीं, वो इस बारे में कुछ नहीं जानते।
तो ये है जिना की जिद की वजह। आखिर किसी ने मुझे कुछ क्यों नहीं बताया?
तलवार तो आपके हाथ में है। प्लान का नाम याद दिलाऊं? The Mountbatten Plan.
And as I was reading a few of the reviews, it's also said that British they had run out of money after the World War, and they didn't have the wherewithal to basically continue.
Well, the point is, my film starts with a quote: "History is written by the victors."
History is written by the victors, yes.
And so this is my chance as a British Indian to tell the history from the way I see it. And the reality was that Britain in India had been brought to its knees by Gandhiji, you know, by the Quit India movement. They would never want to admit that, but actually all the civil unrest, all the problems, you know, had made it very hard for the British to rule. So also then during the war, you know, Nehruji, Gandhiji, they refused to support the British. But Churchill, the British, they needed Indian soldiers, you know, for the war. And so a deal was struck that, okay, we will give India independence after the war so long as you support the Allies now.
Right.
And America was also very keen on this position because America said, unless you promise the Indians independence, anything could happen. The Japanese could come down and take India, you know.
Right.
So America pushed Britain too to announce a leaving date and announce that they would hand India back. So in that context, after the war, suddenly Churchill is sitting there thinking, okay, now I have to hand India back. And I don't really want to hand India back, you know, because Churchill knew that if he handed India back, that would be the end of the British Empire. Because once India went, every other country would go. So for Churchill, it was a question of the empire, holding on to the empire versus Gandhiji, Nehruji, you know, it was like they had brought the empire to its knees. So Churchill was trying to find a way to still hold on to having a presence in this region, even though he knew he had promised to hand India back. So partition became part of this puzzle, this juggling for Britain. And I feel that at that time, had Nehruji and Gandhiji and Patel Saab and everyone, had they been aware of what the real British agenda was,
Right.
The map of India would be very different today, you know.
No, absolutely, absolutely. The map of India definitely would have been much more different.